3 seconds to try a shot and try to win the game.
This is the Notebook Wagering Show on the Wylde Style Network. Here are your hosts, Q, Smitty, Matt, and J Cam.
Hey, it's Wednesday night, Notebook Wagering time, live from the Salisbury Center, fueled by Monster Energy. I am Smitty. I am in studio. We got Nails up in Pittsburgh, and we're going to try to break down the biggest games in the college football card for the weekend. Week 11, and in the NFL, we got Week 10. Matty, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Well, buddy, me and you tonight, we can spit fire and go nuts tonight.
Oh, we're going to fire away.
Yeah, we should be able to get under the time limit, no problem, unless you and I go on a couple rants, which we may.
That always happens here and there.
Hey, before you start into the game, though, I think we should talk about the BCS real quick.
I had it up. Okay, go for it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so let's just start. We'll just see what you think. So, number one, they have down Ohio State, 2, Georgia, 3, Michigan, 4, Florida State, and then the 2 next are number 5, Washington, number 6, Oregon. So this is obviously going to be a pretty good weekend to see who might jump up, because there's some huge games. Like Michigan, Penn State, obviously, that winner. If Michigan were to win, they might go up in the rankings, I think. Georgia has a big game, too. So Ohio State has, I don't know if they're playing garbage or a bye this week, but they might actually drop. So that actually might
it's
hurt
garbage.
them.
It's Michigan State.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
And then Florida State, Miami. So this actually, well, first, let me ask you, are you okay with those 4 in?
Yeah, I am. I kind of said it a couple weeks ago to our good friend Matt Grissom. He kind of asked us about this. And I said, I don't think Ohio State's played very good football at all. I really don't. I wasn't impressed. I watched a lot of that game with Rutgers last week. I mean, they really struggled. And I don't know. Harrison Jr. is a stud. The quarterback's iffy. Defense is okay. Pretty good defense. But I did say who they've played, I was okay with that. I think still Georgia should be number 1. And I'm not a big guy that says you got to go with, because they've won it the last 2 years. Well, this is a new year. I don't think you can always but they haven't lost a game yet. So I think Georgia right now, I think one of those teams should be number 1. But if you look, Ohio State beat Notre Dame. Well, Notre Dame lost last week to Clemson, which I called that. So you can look at it like this. Michigan, again, we're going to see, and we'll dive into that game here. And, us being a Michigan fan, they should be in it for sure, because I think they're one of the best teams in the country, deepest team in the country. They haven't played anybody, though. And, what can you say? I mean, and I joked with somebody the other day, and I said, well, how about UNLV? They did play UNLV. UNLV has a pretty good team. I mean, they're having a pretty good year. Now, they're not crazy good by any means. They're not an elite program. It was kind of a joke, but I don't know if the person kind of laughed at it or not. Florida State, I think they're a good team. But who's Florida State beat, Matt? LSU?
Yeah.
First game of the year? Well, guess what? LSU is a great offense, good quarterback. Their defense can't stop anybody. So I'm okay with it. Here's the only thing. I think Washington or Oregon for sure should be in it, just because the Pac-12 is fantastic football. It's maybe the deepest overall with it. Maybe one of those teams could have been into it a little bit here, but I'm okay with it right now. What's your overall thoughts on it?
Well, this may be a homer in me, but I actually think Michigan is the best team right now. And that's not just being a homer. They're so good. I have a sticky note on them. So we are in week 9, week 10. They have not had an opponent get a 1st and goal on them yet. I don't care who you played. I don't care if your third stringers are in there. To allow that to not happen is amazing. That shows how good and deep they really are. I'm okay with Ohio State being in there. I'm okay with Georgia being in there. Florida State is the question mark, but I don't think you can remove them because they're still undefeated. I guess their strength of schedule is probably a little better than Washington and Oregon. But I think Oregon this week may jump up into that spot if they put a whacking on USC. So I think we're going to get some shakeup. And I actually might not be shocked if Ohio State drops all the way down to like 4 in these next week. So
well, I did throw a ticket on Bama to win the national championship a couple weeks ago.
I like that lot. You knew I was high on them at the beginning. They were they're still my pick to win the SEC. So.
And I like the team. I mean, I think they travel. We're not going to really break that game down. I think they go into Kentucky this weekend. Could it be a letdown game? It could be. But I think they're going to be okay. I've been high on Alabama too. I like the Alabama team. So I did a little pizza money, everybody, a little pizza money on Alabama to win the national championship. But yeah, I think I think Georgia should be there. I think Georgia's one of the best teams. Again, I'm not trying to be a homer either. I think Michigan's depth is just crazy good. It's crazy good. Now, let's dive into it. And if you're checking us out, our good friend Ken is already checking us out. And I'll hold his thought here when we dive in this game. But we're going to break down. We got college football week 11, everybody. And we got the NFL week 10. And if jumping on with us, hey, jump in that chat. Let's break down some games. Scott, bring that up. There we go. There's some of the games we're going to break down here this week. Let's go into the first one here. You got Michigan traveling into Beaver Stadium. Noon game, Fox. Gus Johnson on the mic. Gotta love it. -4.5. 45.5, I believe. Man, my handwriting sometimes. I make fun of myself on these shows. I go on, man, sometimes making these notes. Sometimes it's late at night, and it's just, I think it's 45.5. Money line, and these are scores and odds where I'm taking it -215. You know, the last couple years, 2 years, Michigan's got them. And this is, I'm gonna do some James Franklin stats here again here. I'm gonna let Matty go. But Matty, this team last week, Penn State finally showed up. They really did. I think they finally showed up and they played well against Maryland. Maryland's a team that just usually starts off great and they kind of fizzle. And Penn State really put it on them 51-15. Aller did have a pretty good game, threw 4 touchdowns. Allen ran the ball pretty well. Singleton didn't do much last week. Michigan 41-13 over Purdue last week. McCarthy went through the air pretty good, 335. They didn't really run the ball. Corum only had 44 yards last week, but he did have 3 touchdowns. Matty, what is your breakdown on this game? I'll give the James Franklin stats here. Maybe you have them too. What's your overall thoughts here with the Michigan-Penn State game?
All right. So I dug in because we know our listeners here are big Michigan and Penn State people. So this has been a dead heat, surprisingly, for the last 14, 15 years. I think it's actually 8-7 in favor of Penn State. I actually think they go hat trick in a row. I think this is a big point for Michigan to put the foot on the gas and go. So last year, Edwards had 16 carries, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns against his Penn State defense. I think it's going to be Corum to do it this year. So Penn State has a little odd stat, though. They average 37.4 points per game. But if you take away their Delaware 63-7, UMass 63-0, and then this Maryland game, they're not that good. Now, again, Michigan has also played some bums, and they're at 40.7, but this is number 1 versus number 2 defenses. So I think this is going to be an underplay. I think they're going to try to just grind this one out. And I hate to say it, though, I actually think, and I'm probably going to jinx myself, I think Michigan actually blows them out. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. I am not afraid to lay the 4.5. I heard somebody on VSiN today say the same thing. This is the Q mortgage play, empty the bank account, throw what you want on this one, and don't be afraid to do it. I'm leaning Michigan. McCarthy's a better quarterback than Aller, and if they are impressive this week and then they beat Ohio State, I actually think McCarthy wins the Heisman Trophy this year, and I'm going to put a stamp on that. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, this is going to be a tough environment again. It's a noon game. I think a lot of people wanted it to be the whiteout game. Now, Franklin came out and said, oh, the atmosphere is great. Sometimes those late games, it doesn't. Well, I mean, come on now. That's crazy. That's insane. Here's just a couple quick things on James Franklin here. 1-5 versus top 10 at home. 5-8 versus ranked teams at home. 1-7 versus top 5 teams. And he's 3-6 versus Michigan. He struggled winning the big games here. Now, this is a good Penn State team. And listen, would I be shocked if Penn State wins this game? No. And I know a lot of people are going to probably come at me and say, oh, here we go. And, and you got the whole thing, oh, they're stealing signs and all that. And, hey, play the villain role. It's good to be the villain sometimes. I've said it before. The thing with it is, with this Michigan team, I said already the depth. The depth is so key. They can pound the ball. Over the last couple of years, Michigan's been a team that they're going to pound the ball nonstop. Well, you can see McCarthy can throw the ball. Wilson, Johnson, the tight end. They can get the ball out to some people. Penn State's defense is legit. Not saying they're not. I agree. I think Matt made a great point. I trust McCarthy a little bit more than Aller. Now, he did come off a good game. Penn State did they get that sleepwalking game against Indiana out of the way? And are they going to be fired up? Yeah, they'll be fired up. I think this can be a tight game. I really do. I just think, if Michigan can bully them a little bit on the line and run the ball, you're in some trouble. If they can slow it down, we'll have to see if McCarthy can make some throws. I think he can. Who's going to turn the ball over? Who's going to have that freak play? That's key in this. I agree. Not trying to say it because I'm a Michigan guy. I think Michigan's a better team than Penn State. Not saying Penn State's not a good team. I think they are. I think they're really good. And next year, you have a lot coming back, and I think they're going to be loaded next year too. But James Franklin, until we can win one of these big games, and Michigan, I think by far, and I'm going to say it, by far is the best team in the Big Ten, because I think they pummel. I think they beat Ohio State coming up. And I've had a little joke with Stevie Shrimp from Sharp Angle Syndicate and said that they're going to beat them by double digits. Because I don't think Ohio State's that good. Give me Michigan. Give me Michigan. I think Michigan beats Penn State. Go for it.
How does Penn State score through the air against this team? Is my question. I think they'll be able to run the ball here and there. Not awesomely. That's why I think the under is the play. But they don't have a receiver. I mean, this is like the New York Giants wide receiver group of college. This is really, really bad. I don't think they can score through the air. I think they're going to have to potentially play a field position game, hope for a turnover or two, and maybe get a cheapie somewhere in there. Who knows? Maybe a pick six. But I just don't think they can score. I love Michigan this week. I think it's the statement game. This is the one where they win by 11-15, and I may actually try to look for something in a book with the odds on that and see what I can find.
All right, we got a couple of people saying in. Ken said he's going to be there. He said Michigan wins by double digit. We got another guy, Average Joe's Excellent Card Adventure. I think we know who that is. He says we are. We are. Hey, it should be fun. I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. And it's always fun because, we have so many friends that have gone to Penn State, and we have so many people that, out of us that were Michigan fans. It's always a good time. I think it's two good teams. I mean, I think, again, I'm not going to sit here. People always say, and I say on these shows, they always, oh, you bash Penn State. No, they're a good team, man. I'm not going to sit here and say they're not. They're a good team. It could happen. It really could. I don't think it's going to happen. So we are PL. Yes, we are Sheila. Hey, let's win that state championship, man, in volleyball. Good luck, girls, out of the Phillipsburg area, man. Win that state championship in volleyball. Top-notch team here. All right, let's bounce to the next game here. We got Tennessee, Missouri here. 3:30 CBS. Now, this one's different, Matt, and this what I dove into. You look over the last couple of years, man, high scoring. 66-24, 62-24, Tennessee. 6-4 last 10, 4 in a row for Tennessee. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I don't, because it's not the same Tennessee team. You don't have the team like last year that's going to throw a lot. You got Joe Milton that has the big arm, but they want to play a little good defense. They want to run the ball a little bit, get him out, doing some quick throws, get everything going, get him in rhythm. Because with Joe Milton, you got to get him in rhythm, in my opinion. What's your overall thoughts on this? In this game, can Tennessee pull off another win in this series?
Well, I got another mind-blowing stat for you here, and it involves one team in this matchup. So, you know how bad Iowa offensively is?
Oh, it's bad.
The stat of the week, the punter for Missouri last week had 39 passing yards. That was more than Iowa did as a team. The punter. That's how bad Iowa's offense is. I was mind blown when I found that out. I was like, what is going on? So, but back to this game. This is just basic. I hope it's not a letdown game like they blew their wad against Georgia last week. And they hung with Georgia all week. So I hope they get up for this because Tennessee's playing really well. But I have to take the 1.5 with Missouri at home. And like you said, it's low scoring. Tennessee actually likes to run the ball. They have, I think, 3 guys with over 400 yards rushing. One has almost 1,000 already. So I think it's a really, really tight game. Obviously, the Vegas Neatnicks know that it's 1.5. But give me the home dog. I like it. I like Drinkowitz. I think we'll have him ready to go. I don't have much on it. Like you said, Tennessee doesn't have Cedric Tillman and Jalen Highland on the outside anymore to go deep for Milton to throw to. So they're going to pound the ball. Missouri, I actually think, has a better quarterback and then the better receivers. It gives Tennessee the edge on running back. So it comes down to just give me 2 out of the 3 in the strength, and I'm going to take the Tigers and the points at home.
Yeah, I'm right with you here. I like both teams. And like you said, I think you made another great point here. Can Missouri come back? Because I watched that game. They hung with Georgia. They were doing some good things there. Can they come back? Now they get the home field here. But Tennessee's good. I think this lower scoring game, maybe look at that. But I'm right with you. Couple predictors I look at, man, they have it really close. I saw 27-26, 27-24 Tennessee. So it's close. I'm leaning a little bit that Mizzou comes back with the home field and can get this. I mean, Tennessee's favorite by -1.5, over-under's 58.5, man. I don't think it – that under's the play, I think, don't you? I mean, we're both on that under.
Yeah, I mean, that's the lean. I don't know if I'm going to touch it. It might even come down. So
I like Mizzou, and I like the under in that. Maybe here's a little teaser, and I know some people hate teasing college.
I knew it was coming.
I love it, man. Tease it up more. Take the under. Tease up Mizzou. Let's see what happens here. Let's get some teaser action going here. All right, let's go to the next one here. We got Utah. I'm just going to – another 3:30, Fox. Utah, Washington. You got a pissed off Washington team not in there yet? Some people think this is the best team. Them or Oregon, like we just said a couple minutes ago. They were in a high-scoring game last week. I went against Washington. I'm not going to lie because I can't stand that USC team, but I did take USC last week, Matt, and did lose that. You know, Penix, 256, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Man, Johnson, the guy on the ground last week, my goodness. 26 carries, 256 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Who had him in college football fantasy? I know I did not, but here's the thing, Matt, and I'll let you go in my notes. I kind of looked at this. You got Utah coming off a big win last week, 55-3 against Arizona State. And I think Arizona State, I played them a couple of times. They've been competing a little bit. They've been playing hard. Well, they didn't play hard last week. They got whipped. But when I look at Utah, and I said, okay, so let's go through the schedule. Who can I match this game up with? Well, it was Oregon, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And that was at Utah. And Oregon went in there and whipped Utah 35-6. I just don't know if Utah can score enough to keep this game. Line right now, -9.5, over under 51.5. I just see Washington pulling ahead here and getting it and covering the 9.5. What do you think?
All right, so there's a scary stat here. This line started out at 54.5 for the total. You just said you had it at 51.5. I just checked. It's now down to 50.5. And why does that keep coming down? That has to make me think that McMillan's not going to play for Washington, and that Utah's
out last week, correct? He didn't play last week.
He didn't, and he is still questionable. And I have to think that that's probably what's going to push this down like another point, potentially. I think Utah can hang here, and this is a must-win for them in the Pac-12. They're 4-2. They lose this, there's no shot. I mean, I already think there's no shot for them to win with Oregon and Washington ahead of them. But you can't tell your kids that, or it's just going to be like a deflating effort. So, man, I do really like this Washington team. I think they're kind of getting into that territory, though, of they've played so many big games in a row. Can they just keep it up? And here's another one that just keeps coming. I was like, I've been wrong, though. So, I mean, they had a tight game against Arizona, a super tight game against Oregon, grinded out against Arizona State, Stanford, and then the big USC matchup last week where they looked really good. So that's basically 1, 2, 3. 3 big boys. I actually think Arizona's a much underrated team, so I don't know if they can keep it up. That's my only issue. I think they will, and the kid Polk, who's playing wide receiver in place of McMillan, is really good too. This team kind of reminds me, the offensive with Smith and Jigba, Harrison, all those guys for the past couple of years of Ohio State. I think if you had to make me bet this, and I haven't yet, I would probably take Utah plus the points, and knowing that the last time I did that, they got absolutely blown out, and that'll probably happen again. They'll lose by 30 up in Washington Stadium there, Husky Stadium. And the only other thing, though, this is actually a noon game. So this is early for them out there, even earlier for Washington than normal, I believe. Utah actually gets that arrow back because I think they're in the mountain, but I could be wrong. So, yeah, give me Utah plus the points. And I also don't like that all the public money is on the Huskies. So something's fishy. Maybe this will be the fishy game of the week, and I'll let you break it down.
Yeah, with Penix, I was a little surprised, only 256 last week. But again, they did it on the ground in USC. We're going to get to USC here in a little bit here. But, I think with the Heisman, you said something about McCarthy, and I said it on NCAA Insiders about last week about him winning the Heisman. I said I think he could. Now, you have all these people on these shows saying, with all the Michigan scandal, oh, he can. But Penix, where I'm going with this is, I think it's Bo Nix. It's Penix, maybe McCarthy. I got to see some big numbers here. Let's throw up some big numbers here for Penix this week, and let's get him back in, maybe winning the Heisman. Because right now, it might be Bo Nix. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, here we go. We're just going to do another 3:30, going down the board here a little bit here. You got Oklahoma State against UCF, and you might say, why is this on the board? Well, why isn't it? This Oklahoma State team right now playing great football. Big win last week in Bedlam. I was wrong. I gave out I thought it was going to be an overplay. I thought there was going to be a lot of points in that, and there wasn't. It just kind of slowed down here. Bowman's playing good quarterback, 28 out of 42, 334 last week. They did beat Oklahoma 27-24. You got this Gordon kid, Matt, this running back that is just on fire. 33 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been putting up some big numbers. But is this a letdown spot? I mean, you talk about letdown spots. This could be it. You just come off your big rivalry game, Bedlam. Last time they're going to probably play it because Oklahoma's heading to the SEC. Is this a spot that they go down to Central Florida? And again, Plumlee, quarterback, not bad. They did beat Cincinnati last week. Really close game. They did hang with Oklahoma, I think, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Harvey, the running back, 20 carries, 164 yards, 3 touchdowns. Is this a trouble spot or a letdown game for Oklahoma State?
I think so. Why is the line only 2.5, like you said? The over is 64. It's going to be warm down there. It's supposed to be 85 degrees and rain. So this actually looks like an overplay. Based on what you said, like, how can that running back for Oklahoma State not just go nuts in the rain? Because in a bad weather game, the offense usually has the advantage because they know what's going and where it's going. So unless your scheme is flawless, the offense probably gears it up a little more. The problem is I don't trust UCF. Like you said, it's Plumlee, and then who else? And I know they hung with Oklahoma. In fact, they were beating them pretty much 55 minutes of the game, and then Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma. So you're like, okay, well that's an even mark there. But then the Oklahoma State beat up on Cincy, and I think that's kind of telling. I think this is a letdown, though. So and again, no bet on it yet. But if you're going to make me pick this, I actually am going to take the Knights money line and get a little extra money on it. I don't think the 3.5 is going to come into play, or the 2.5. So yeah, give me the Knights. Give me UCF on this one.
All right, let's continue here. We got a couple, I think 2 more here. We got Ole Miss going into Athens with the Georgia Bulldogs here. Minus 10.5. I got over under 58.5. Matt, I saw the history, man. They haven't played since 2016. I mean, can that be correct? That seems crazy to me, but that's what I had down and what I saw up here. You know, you got a Georgia team that lost their best player, Bowers, the tight end, and they're still coming back, man. They played against Florida and did really well. Last week again against Mizzou, tighter game than maybe some people thought. I like where Beck's going. The thing is, Ole Miss they're gonna pressure. They're gonna come after him. I like the running backs for Georgia here. McConkey, the wide receiver, it's coming back. I have him on fantasy. I've been playing him now. He had 7 catches last week, 95 yards. You got Edwards. You got Milton at backs. You got Beck, 21 out of 32, 254, 2 touchdowns last week. He's starting to get in rhythm, I think, a little bit. Bottom line to me is this, Matt. I think last week they played that game that they didn't blow anybody out. I just think they're tougher than Ole Miss. I think they're more physical. I think they're quicker. I know Ole Miss can score. I think they'll score some points. I don't think they're going to score enough. And I don't think they'll be able to slow down Georgia. For minus 10.5, by the way, this is 7 p.m. ESPN game, so if you want to watch it, I just don't think this team has enough to slow down Georgia. I think this is 13, 17-point win, maybe even up in the 20s. I could see a whipping here. And that's just what I'm saying. So what do you have?
I think it's a whipping. I think you're right. Even though you said Ole Miss can score, they average 34.5 points. Georgia averages 38. That to me screams over. And the other reason it screams over is it's supposed to be rainy and kind of cold. This is maybe the place for the Georgia defense to shine. Maybe somebody gets a punt return finally. Maybe there's a scoop and score. And the telling stat to me is Ole Miss is 4-19 playing at Georgia. And their average margin of victory is 31 points. So I think you nailed it. I think this is a blowout. I think this is where Ole Miss gets their teeth knocked in, and Georgia just actually gets back on track and locks up that top 4, probably going forward till the SEC title game.
All right, our last game here. I'm just trying to look at the chat here too, give out some stuff here. We'll get into Ken's comment here in a second. Thank you again, Ken and Dr. Brent here with some good stuff tonight. USC, Oregon, 10:30. Stay up, everybody. Stay up. After this, Cinemax will be firing here. 10:30 on Fox. Man, Matt, this USC team, I mean, they finally got rid of their defensive coordinator, Grinch. I mean, that could have been like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I just can't figure this team out. You know, what's the motivation here with this USC team? You know, 7-3 now. This line is 14.5, 73.5 over under here. You know, this Oregon team is they're firing right now on all cylinders. They really are. I wrote this down tonight, so let me throw this out, Matt, before you go. I wrote in my notes, Oregon's smashing people, and they are. 38 against Washington State, 35 against Utah, 63 last week against Cal. Here's USC's defense over the last couple weeks. Giving up 41 to Arizona, 48 to Notre Dame, 34 to Utah, 52 to 49 to Cal, and then 52 last week to Washington. Man, they can't stop anybody. Now, is this going to change? I don't even know who they brought in. I mean, you can bring back the greatest minds in the history of the defense coordinator position. I just don't know. Why can't they ever stop anybody? That's what I want to know here. I think Oregon, I just don't see the motivation. Does Williams play? He played a good game last week. 27 out of 35, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jones ran for 127. Washington caught over 100, but they can't stop anybody. This at Oregon. Oregon's going to throw a ton, man. Don't you think, Matt?
Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is one you just want to stay up for. Get a Monster Energy and stay up late.
Get a Monster Energy.
Because look out. So Oregon averages 47.3 points. USC 45.5. We had the defensive battle earlier, 1 versus 2, Penn State, Michigan. This is the top offense versus number 2 offense. USC, I think I just said or showed they haven't scored below 32 points, but they also give up 34.5 a game. There's no way that these two teams don't hit their marks. This might be 90. I think the over-under 73.5 is actually too low, which is nuts to say. And I think it's going to go up. So Bo Nix is accountable for 30 touchdowns. Caleb Williams is accountable for 38 touchdowns. They're each going to get 5 this game in some way, shape, or form. I mean, that's 35 right there. A piece. So that's 70. You're telling me something else is going to happen in here. One of these quarterbacks, I think, is going to get like 7 touchdowns this week, get 5 passing, 2 rushing, and blow it out of the water. Hopefully it's Bo Nix. I do think Oregon wins this. It may be too many points, though, just because USC can score, and they're going to get in the track meet, and defenses are going to get tired. I probably would grab USC plus 15. I think that's just a little too many, because Williams might be, and Riley might be like, well, if we can't win this, let's see if we can at least keep you in the Heisman running and get us some more pub and recruits, et cetera. So, yeah, I think that's just too many points. I think Oregon wins. I think it goes over, but give me those points.
All right, I just want to say, King said Oregon in a rout, which could happen. Could happen. I like Ken here. I like this. Let's give out his play here. I like this play. He says college parlay, Rutgers money line, and Texas minus 10. I don't know off the top of my head who Texas playing TCU off the top of my head. Matt, am I right on that?
I gotta look.
Okay. As Matt's looking this up, I do want to laugh at something. And I want to get Matt's 2 cents and we'll move in the NFL here. How about I think Rutgers plays Iowa. That over under is 28.5 on scores and odds.
Is that what it is?
I'm going to double check here. I'm going to just go off what I think here. I'm going to say
I think if that is true, I think that might be the lowest total potentially ever.
I think it's one of the lowest. I think it is. I think I heard that on a show. I'm trying to find it, Matt. What time is that game? Oh my goodness! Come on.
I'll find it. So,
there it is, right there. 3:30. Yep. Scores and odds.
Yeah, and Texas is playing TCU.
TCU. Okay. Iowa minus 1.5. Over under 28.5. Woo!
I think I actually want to take the under just to see if it is.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? I mean, that is JV football Monday night. Cue up the band. Wow.
Tuesday night. That's actually so bad they had to bump it to Tuesday. The soccer team needed the field.
They need the field. Oh, it's a good one here, man. Hey Ken, I like the play, man. Maybe I'll roll it with you. I think we should. I think we should jump in on that 28.5 just for.
I'm showing 28 actually.
28. Some stuff.
Wow.
Some stuff and giggles there for what I'm talking about here. All right. Yeah. Hey, that's the college breakdown, man. Any game, Matt, I'll be honest, man, with it's been a crazy week. I have not dove into really laying any games yet. I'm going to try to do some team points. I went 2-1. I did lose Michigan last week by like a point. 16-13 for the year. I'm going to try to do at least 2 on that. And I'm going to dive into it here over the next day or so. But I just some leans right now, which you heard some of my leans. But check us out on Notebook Wagering on our own personal X. I'm going to be right here tonight and say X accounts, not Twitter, X. But we'll get some plays here. Let's dive in the NFL, my friend. Let's dive into it. Now, a game I didn't say, Matt, but we'll get your 2 cents really quick. I just want to do this really fast. Matt, these unders, man, are crazy. I want to get your opinion on this. I got this out of Matt Jacob. I think it was like Matt R. Jacob on X. He posted this, so I copied this. So, Matt, thank you for your information. I wrote it down. Last week, unders 10-3. Season right now, 82, 52-1. They're hitting 61%. Primetime games. So the primetime games, which would be Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, 21-7 unders. Last 4 weeks, 9-1. Sunday and Monday nights, 16-3. The international games are 4-0 to the under. These are all unders. So Matt Jacob, thank you very much for your information. Hopefully it's accurate because I copied it and I did quote you. So hopefully it's right. Matt, what's going on with these unders before we dive into it?
Oh, horrible. It's, in my opinion, it's a conglomerate of 2 things. It's horrible coaching. I think there's some absolutely horrible coaches in the NFL right now. And then it's not the fault of the teams or even the players. But there's teams using backup quarterbacks as their starters, and then there's teams where their starters are hurt, and their backups should be third stringers, and the third stringers are now starting. It's a really bad year for quarterback play in the NFL. But then there's a few guys who are shining, but yeah, you look at the board, I think the biggest over-under is 48.5, Detroit and the Chargers, which makes sense. But I don't even trust that. The Chargers put up an absolute dud the other night against the Jets. And Detroit has a week off, should be able to prep. So a short week for the Chargers. I'm probably going to look the under on that one as well. And I hate betting unders because to me they're no fun, but that's where the money is. And I like the more fun. So, yeah, I don't know, Smitty. I'm not a big fan of the NFL product this year, and I also think the referees are really just trash.
My goodness.
So, I think that...
They're
taking points off the board.
That call last week, and I saw it on X. I didn't see it live when the Commanders sacked the quarterback. I mean, what in the world are we talking about?
Yep, that's just a sack. That's all it is. That's a sack. He didn't land on him hard. He didn't helmet. Didn't spear him. It's not.
And that's the thing. Like and these announcers try to defend it. Oh, you can't hit a guy and take your weight down. Well, listen, if you're hitting a guy and you're going down, what are these guys like? I mean, what are we doing here? How are they getting off these guys in the middle of heading down on the ground? I mean, it's silliness, man. It's and I've said it to so many people. Watch college. College is so much better because they take over. Or then there's stuff happening. And then there's nothing. Then they keep their flags in their pocket at times when it's an obvious call, and it's like, well, we got to do it. And it's like they've said on some shows this week. Then when you get in the playoffs, then they keep it in their pocket, and then they don't call anything that they've done all season. All right, here we go. We're going to break down some games here. We got the Browns. I'm going to just go rapid fire here. We're going to go through some games here, and I'm not staying any order. I'm not doing any time slots with this. I'm just going to, what's my index cards, what I have. Let's pick Matty's brain. Let's pick my brain, and let's try to get some winners for everybody out there. You got the Browns traveling into Baltimore, man. This Baltimore team is on fire. -6. Here's another over-under, Matt. Listen to some of these over-unders. There's like 6 that are in the 30s. This one, 38.5. This is a team. You got Baltimore on fire. They got 4 in a row right now. Here's the trend. I'm going to do some trends, and I got the trends off covers.com. They do really good trends. The trend is 12-2. Baltimore's last 14 home games, I think, on the under in this also. Where are you going here, Matt?
I think this is a tight one, and I actually think it goes over. This is one of the rare overs I think might be in play because Watson actually has played 2 good games in a row, even though there was a hiatus in between. So I think he can probably get 2 touchdowns himself, and then they can dump in a running score. So that gives, let's just say Cleveland gets 21. So the Ravens definitely need to get right around there to win. So I actually think this is probably a 24-21 kind of win for the Ravens. Give a Justin Tucker 60-yarder at the end of the game. 2 great defenses, though, very familiar with each other. But I do like this to be one of the slight overs of the week. But I think the Ravens win. I think this NFC North is really shaping up to be a brawl for the remainder of the 8-9 games coming up.
Yeah, with the trend of being the under, and then you look at this and it's a division game. I did this a lot last year. I think it's a great teaser spot here. And tease in the game here. Tease up Cleveland, 6 more, or whatever you can get it. Get it up to 12.
Yeah.
Tease those points up. Take the under. I mean, the trend is 12-2, last 14 home games under. Cleveland, like Matt said, great defense. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think statistically they're number 1.
Yeah, Watson scares me though. I mean, last week you look at some of the numbers last week: 19 out of 30, 219, 2 touchdowns. Cooper had a good game. Running backs are they're running 2 guys right now. But it was Arizona. You had the rookie. Arizona didn't do much. They got Dobbs out of town because he was keeping the guys close. They don't want to win. I guess they're going with Murray here this week, so we'll have to see what kind of train wreck that is. But I would do that. I do a teaser, Browns up, and I do the under. All right. This should be an entertaining one, Matt. You got the Texans traveling into Cincinnati. -6.5, over under 47. Here's the little trend from covers.com. Texans are 4-0 ATS, last 4 games as a dog. You got the Bengals starting to catch fire a little bit, 4-0. Now, one of the reasons why they are, if you look at Joe Burrow's numbers, they're starting to spike. He's starting to play well. He wasn't playing well at the beginning of the year. He's starting to play well. This is a team that's dangerous. You get the Bengals in the playoffs, watch out. This could be a team that nice little sneaky pizza money maybe to win the Super Bowl. Why not? Pretty good odds, I bet. Man, C.J. Stroud's on fire, Matt. Last week, 30 out of 42, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. Listen to the guys, man. Brown, 6 catches, 153. Schultz, 10 catches, 130. Dell had 114. Nico Collins, I think he's a stud. Only had 3 catches, 54 yards. Matt.
I think he had a touchdown.
I hope so, because I think I played him in fantasy. I love Nico, man. Where are you going here?
I'm going to stick. So I'm looking at my futures tickets right now. I actually put a bet on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to check when I did it. NFL Championship. I did it on October 8th, and I got them at 25-1. Little fun piece of money. I think Joe Burrow, 100% healthy, is the best quarterback in football. I think he's, you know what? It's him and Mahomes. Coin flip. There's a couple guys who are like a tier down, but I think the big key here is Luan Arumo. I think he's going to throw so many different looks at C.J. Stroud. He probably really dug into the tape of C.J. going off last week and say, well, we can't have this. And, I mean, he's good, and for some reason the Bengals just start out so slow during the year for the past 3 years. They did it again this year. They're actually not notorious starters in the game either, fast. So I think if he throws a pick, Stroud that is, you might be able to get that as a decent plus number, because a lot of people are thinking, no, he's not going to. He's going to light it up again. But I think they get him here. I think the Bengals do cover, and it's just by a hair. Like somebody's going to go for 2 and screw that up. And I think give me something like 30-22 Cincy over Houston.
Yeah, I think it's a good teaser spot to get Cincy down. Like at minus
yeah,
a half
absolutely.
or a pick.
Yeah.
Let's see where it is.
Great call.
Lock it in. I think Cincy, again, they're playing so good right now. 4 in a row, like I said. I think it's a good spot. You had Texans last week in a very high-scoring game, up and down. I had them in a money line. I'm glad they came back. They scored late in that to get it. I think it's a tight game. Defense, I don't know if they can slow down Joe Burrow in this. So, yeah, I'm right with you. I think it's a great teaser spot.
I do want to toot my horn real quick one more time. I actually grabbed C.J. Stroud Rookie of the Year back on September 23rd. It was only 5-1 for him to go. That's still a good number because now he's minus 230 or something. So, yeah, it was a little ahead of the curve, and I really like it. I think it stinks, though, too, because I think Puka Nacua, with who his quarterbacks are out there and how bad that team is, should be like even money with Stroud, but the quarterback being in the high position is going to get the nod.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, now the Rams, you had with Stafford being hurt, you had Rippon, and now they brought in Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Yeah. So, it's too bad what happened there overall. So, all right, here we go. Good game here. You got San Francisco traveling into Jacksonville here. -3 on scores and odds with San Francisco, 45.5. Here's the trends I got from covers.com. 4-14-1 ATS last 19 after a bye for San Francisco. Now, Shanahan has not been the coach for all those games, but he is 2-4 ATS after a bye with San Francisco here. Matt, here's the team with San Francisco. They look like they were unstoppable a couple weeks ago. Then you got some injuries, and you had the whole conversation. Is Purdy is he good or is it a system? And then, you get Deebo Samuel not playing. You get McCaffrey banged up a little bit. Then he came back. You had some injuries. We talked on the show a couple weeks ago about the one game their defensive line has to get to the quarterback. They have okay corners and they got okay like DBs in the secondary, but you got to get to the guy. You said, even Bosa said, holding out, that he's a little rusty, maybe not getting to the quarterback. I think this is a good teaser spot, too. I like Jacksonville in this. Take them up to 9. I don't know about this San Francisco team anymore. I like them. I still think they're good. I got to get Deebo back, man. Deebo does so much for this team. And I know McCaffrey, setting the records with touchdown every week and his rushing touchdowns consecutive games, but I think this could be a tight game. I think Jacksonville again has covered and won, I think 5 in a row. This is a good teaser spot. Up to 9. I like Jacksonville.
Wow. I can't believe I'm going to say it with you. I think you're right. I think this is a perfect spot for the Jags. They're coming off a bye too, and they had the overseas games. So I'm looking up the team defenses right now, and I thought the Jags were better than what they are. They're down there pretty far, but man, wait a second here. No, I'm sorry. Here we go. Updated. Okay, the Jags defense is better than I think. So I think this is the perfect spot for them. You're absolutely right. If you want to do a teaser with these guys and take that up to 9 at home, man, is that awesome. Purdy, I do think he's good. I don't think he's upper echelon good as we may have been fooled by for a little bit when they went on that huge run. Now, the Jags have won 5 in a row. Niners are potentially going to lose 3 in a row. I think the fun play here is to actually take the Jags money line at home. I think this is basically like a 24-22 type game. Brandon McManus kicks a winner down the stretch. And it's probably going to go under, if you ask me. You brought up a good point about the Niners D-line. They did trade for Chase Young, so we get to see Chase Young this week, which may be able to keep Lawrence in check because their tackles are good. Their O-line's good, not great. Travis Etienne can't block, though. He can't block Bosa when he's chipping these guys. So I think an under might be in play. I actually think an INT for both quarterback might be in play for a player prop. But I'm with you. And in fact, I think the Jags are just going to win the game outright, but in a nail-biter.
Yeah, I'm going to throw Old Man in the Garage. Has 2 plays this week. He has Jacksonville upsetting them. So he's also, that's 3 of us. Uh-oh. You know what that means sometimes. Go completely.
Winner. That means winner.
Winner or Oppo, whatever you want to do there. So, all right, I'll give out his other one. He has 1 more. He has 2 plays this week. And everybody, it is, the Steelers were favorites, so it can't be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we like always doing that. Here we go. Let's go next game again. We're going to keep the Steelers game next, and then we're going to do the local team here with the Commanders. One of the last games that I do want to touch on before we sign off. We do have a game tomorrow night. It's not a very good one, but I do just want to get Matt's quick thoughts on that one here. Lions, Chargers here. We like this Detroit team. It's a good Detroit team. Goff's been playing okay. Couple throws over the last couple weeks. There have been head scratchers. You're a little concerned. Now, you said too, Matt, Chargers won Monday night. They came into New York, beat the Jets. Not the greatest numbers, though. I mean, Herbert was only 16 out of 30, 136 yards. They didn't do much, but the Jets just don't do a lot on offense because they keep sticking to Zach Wilson on offense. -3 Lions, 48.5. The trend on covers.com. Chargers, just look for them in the second half. They don't do much. They start good, then they kind of fade a little bit on some of their numbers. So keep an eye on that if they're winning the game or you like points or anything like that. Keep an eye on that. Matt, where are you going here with this game with the Lions and Chargers?
Man, the Chargers are just they're my.
I know you love their coach, Matt.
I like that team. I like Herbert. I like Keenan Allen. I like Eckler. I love their left tackle. I think they're good on defense, but that coach is a bum. I think he's going to get out coached, but I think they're going to cover the 3. But I think if I am to play this, I might buy the hook. I might want the 3.5. I think the Lions are probably going to win by a field goal, so I think that line is perfect. The Lions get back Montgomery, so they're probably going to pound Montgomery and pound Gibbs on the 3rd down and get him out of the backfield. Amon-Ra St. Brown, when those 2 play together, he gets probably single coverage because you gotta try to limit something, and they're probably going to try to stack the box and keep the Lions from running the ball. Campbell wants to run the ball. He loves it. I think Goff gets back on track. I think the Lions win by the hook on the Chargers and get 3.5.
All right, here we go. Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers coming off last Thursday night win over the Tennessee Titans here. Their trend here, combined 11 out of 12 unders. Here's another one. Pittsburgh Steelers, -3. Over-under is 38.5. Here's the thing. Being a Steeler fan, they ran the ball great last week. They finally got the rookie on the line. Thank you, Mike Tomlin. About time. Got Joey Porter Jr. in the secondary. Thank you again. It's about time. Now, what I liked about the Steelers last week, they did run the ball well. Harris had 16 carries, 69 yards, a touchdown. Warren had 11 carries, 88 yards. I've been saying it. I love Warren. I think he's the better running back than Harris, but I thought Harris played well too. Now, Deontay Johnson is the main target right now with Kenny Pickett. If you can ever find anybody else, that'd be great. Or if you can make a couple completions, that would be great. Now, Kenny is Mr. Money in primetime games, 7-0 ATS. And he does seem like he does the best work in tight games in the fourth quarter. You got Pickens, that's not the happiest camper in Pittsburgh right now. He took down all his social media things, did not follow Deontay Johnson. And if you saw Deontay Johnson that finally scored a touchdown, and George Pickens kind of looked like he was a 2-year-old kid that looked like somebody took his toy bike away from him. Well, that was pretty much obvious the other night here. Green Bay, they're not the greatest offense, man. Love, he did come last week, 20 out of 26, 228, 1 touchdown. Jones had 73. I was on Green Bay last week, Matt. I had them over the Rams, I think in a money line parlay. Did I win that or did I lose that? I might have had that with the Falcons. That might have been a big loser, but they did win the game here. What's happening? I think you are on a little play with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so please tell the audience.
It's not a play I want to be on.
Oh, please
at all.
Join it.
I don't want any part of it, but I have to use the Steelers in the Survivor this week, and I'm not exactly happy about it. However, you said one good thing, even though it is baffling. And so the QBR ratings right now, here's where I go on a mini tangent. Kenny Pickett is 27th in total QBR. The quarterbacks behind him, Daniel Jones, hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo, benched. Ryan Tannehill, benched. Zach Wilson, a great, perfect backup for, a half. Then Bryce Young, a rookie on a bad team. But Pickett in the fourth quarter, I believe, has the highest QBR in the NFL at something like 110, which is just nuts. How can this coaching staff not figure out how to get him to be more consistent in quarters 1, 2, and 3 so they don't have to pull some magic rabbit out of their ass in quarter 4? It's baffling to me. I do not understand how this team is, what their record is. I think it should be flip-flopped. I still think they're fool's gold. But you know what? Go Steelers this weekend. Please get me a win. Don't lay the points, but bet a money line.
Did you see LeBron James that he got asked about the Lakers and they're losing tonight? I had them in a money line. My NBA looks horrible tonight. It looks like a big 0-2 night. That's okay. That happens. He said we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the only other funny thing is when College Game Day, they're going places and people are holding like signs, Fire Matt Canada. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, you got to feel bad for the guy because, I mean, it's just, and I think at times, I'm going to say this, I think at times the plays are there. Pickett just misses.
Yeah, he's not accurate at all until he's in the. It's literally like me playing golf. It takes me 6 holes to warm up. So takes me about 12 because I've seen some of your scores. If it takes you only 6 to heat up, then it takes me about 14 to heat up. Then okay. Yeah, it's nuts. So that's him. It's like what is going on in quarters 1, 2, and 3, and it is part Canada, but I actually think it's probably more Kenny Pickett over anything.
Well said. I'm not high on Canada, but there's and we'll bounce here because we want to get out of here. But there was Deontay Johnson missed the throw early in the game. George Pickens coming across the middle, wide open. If he hits, Pickens goes around the sidelines and goes down for about 30, 40 yards, maybe a touchdown. He missed them straight up, right next to him. Missed the touchdown the week before or 2 weeks ago, whatever. All right, here, let's go local team here. We got the Commanders heading out to Seattle. And I ran out of time. I'm going right off my head here. I got no notes on this game. But here's the only scary spot I have because Seattle got their doors blown out of here in Baltimore last week. You know, Commanders is a big one. They got rid of everybody. Chase Young, Sweat went to the Bears. The thing is, I will give Bieniemy some credit here. They are getting the ball out quick. He's not getting sacked as much as he has over the last couple weeks. I think he's only been sacked the last 2 games, I believe. I think 4 times I heard. So that's not bad. I think it's a tough spot. I think it's a tough spot for the Commanders here. Now, I don't know about the 6. I think it's a great teaser spot. I think it's a great teaser spot for Seattle. I think they win the game. I don't think the Commanders go out there and win the game at all. They have to because if you look at their schedule, they got the really bad Giants. They'll beat them, but then, man, it's tough. They got the Dolphins. They got. I forget who else they have. Their schedule's just tough coming up. I think it's a great teaser spot, but this is Matt's team. So, Matt, you take the board here, man, and let me know what's going to happen.
So, what kind of odds? Let's play a fun game here. What kind of odds would you have given me if, let's just say, at the midway point I said the number 2 passer in the league, yardage-wise, would be Sam Howell, and he'd be ahead of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. Because he is. He's number 2 right now.
I said last year he should have been quarterbacking.
Well, you're right. I actually was kind of on board as well. I wish they would have played him last year. And then you summed it up with the sacks. I think Eric Bieniemy finally is realizing who his playmakers are, how to get them involved, and whoever is coaching the O-line, maybe they figured something out. Maybe it's leaving Robinson in the block because he definitely hasn't gotten as many touches recently. I actually like this spot for the Commanders this week. Seattle at home doesn't absolutely scare me. I'm going to look up their home record right now. I don't think they're as awesome as home as we think. So let's see. They lost to the Rams at home. They beat Carolina at home, Arizona at home, and Cleveland at home. So they're 3-1 at home, but those actually were tight games. They don't
and some of the teams you said they're not that good.
Yeah, no, and they beat Arizona 20-10. So Geno Smith to me is just an average quarterback.
Absolutely,
but his average quarterback play is better because he has Metcalf, Lockett, and now Smith and Jigba, and they can run the ball, so it takes pressure off them. So it's a perfect recipe there, but they don't scare me. I actually think the Commanders can cover the 6 here. I think this is another field goal game, and I actually think this could be an under.
All right, Matt, real quick here. We want to get out of here. You got we did not touch on the Thursday night game because it's just not a very good Thursday night game. But we were hitting about the under. So let's give out something. Then I want to give out Ken's he did give out a play here in the chat. I want to get it out before we get out of here. You got the Panthers going into Chicago tomorrow night. -3 on scores and odds. Over under again. This is another one in the 30s, 38.5 here. We gave you information on these unders and these primetime games, these night games here. What's your lean? It sounds like Justin Field is not going to play again tomorrow. What would you do in this play? So let's try to get the weekend started right with a Thursday night play. What do you got, Matt?
Shout out to Shepherd University, Tyson Badgen getting the start again. The kid he's actually played okay. He turns the ball over, which is a good thing. I actually think it's a good thing if you actually want to play the over this week. I think this could be the sneaky shootout game between 2 young quarterbacks. I think each of them might throw 2 touchdowns and then have 2 interceptions apiece. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a pick 6 each way. This is 2 bad teams, which stinks for these primetime games. Monday and Sunday are awful too, in my opinion. I don't like the line. I would probably do a Smitty teaser here. Tease this actually down to, what would it be? Tease it down to 32.5 and go over. And then if you want to do a same game parlay, I would probably tease the Panthers up, getting probably 10, maybe by kickoff.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I like that too. I could see that. I'm just going to play the trend here. I'm going to take Panthers up, and I'm going to take the points up and take the under.
Okay, yeah.
That's where we're going here. Hey, Ken gave out a play. He loves the Cowboys minus the points versus the Giants. I mean, you got the Giants, they just signed Matt Barkley. He's coming on. I think you got Danny DeVito. What's his name? Tommy Vito, I think, or something.
Tommy DeVito, yeah.
Tommy DeVito out of, I believe it was Syracuse, correct, Matt?
Yes, sir. And then I think he transferred to Illinois.
That is correct. Okay, there we go here. You are correct, sir. All right, so that one, and hey, Ken, Dallas has fantastic points, or great trends, ATS coming off like a loss, covering big lines and everything like that. So we'll have to see. I like that Cowboys team. I mean, they really blew it last week against the Eagles there, but that one could be ugly. So thank you so much, Ken. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. Thanks, Ken. We really appreciate all your chat information that you do. Dr. Brent, thanks for chiming in tonight. And Matty, anything else that you want to shout out? Hey, man, how great it is to have college basketball back.
Oh, it was awesome. Started out 3-0 as well.
Nice.
I got played first night, did really well. I haven't dug back in. Just a lot going on. I will start digging in probably after this weekend. We got to see a couple games, some teams under their belt. But right now, all I'm hoping for is a Sixers win, as everybody was bashing the Sixers tonight and saying they're going to get blown out by the Celtics. And lo and behold, I hope Michael Lombardi from the Lombardi line on VSiN's watching, because he's a Sixers guy. Better get us a dub here.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to get the win. I had Celtics, Lakers, and the Lakers are down big. My NBA was horrible tonight. 1-4 opening night for me. College basketball wasn't good. Came back 2-0 last night. I gave out Arizona State plus 3.5 against Ole Miss tonight. And I did a teaser, Florida Atlantic down to -1, which they were up by about 11. And then I teased up Arizona State up to 8.5. That game tips off here at 9:30. So we'll see how the college basketball 3-4 start for me. Had a good year last year. I'm going to try to continue. Everybody, thank you so much, man. We're going to bounce, and we'll come back next week, and we're just going to keep breaking down. We're going to try to win money. Like we always say, Matty, what do we always do? Let's keep going.
And bang your bookies.
There we go.
Thanks for listening to the Notebook Wagering Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any episodes, and be sure to follow @Notebook Wagering. Until next time.